of us do. So Adolfo responds that, if we remain silent in the face of so much injustice and so much violence, then we really become complicit in those situations of violence and injustice.
Is there not a component of a complete breakdown of communication within violence?
Pregunta si dentro de la violencia no hay un elemento de la ruptura de toda forma de comunicación, si eso no es una parte, un elemento de violencia, cuando no se comunica, no hay intercomunicación.
Que no haya comunicación.
Sí, si no hay buena comunicación, digamos, esa forma parte también de la violencia.
Pienso que sí, que cualquier acción no es individual, son colectivas en las luchas sociales. A veces son violentas, otras veces son no violentas. Depende de cuál es la opción que tenemos para cambiar la situación.
I think that yes, in a sense, to say that we have to communicate with others, because any action that's going to really contribute to transforming the structures of violence, it can never be an individual action. It's always going to have to be community. It's going to have to be with others. We have to communicate with others. We have to not only make a decision ourselves, choose to act, to transform that situation, but also choose to come together with others. And that means communication.
Observen ustedes, nosotros tenemos una cultura de la violencia.
If you think about it a minute, we could see that we really live in a very violent culture, a culture of violence.
Observen que siempre se honra a los héroes. Los héroes son los guerreros.
Who are the heroes who are honored? They're always war heroes, military heroes.
Le voy a contar una cosa que viví y nos causó mucha gracia.
I want to just share a story with you, something I lived, something I experienced that provoked a lot of humor.
Estaba en Washington.
I was in Washington.
Eran los 50 años de la Organización de Estados Americanos, la OEA.
And it was the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Organization of American States, the OAS.
Y entonces, en esa reunión, éramos 4 premios Nobel de distintas disciplinas.
And we were 4 Nobel Prize, Nobel laureates there at that meeting from different fields.
Y claro, en un momento que estábamos en discusión, había mucha efervescencia, mucho debate.
And at one point in the discussions or the debate, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of effervescence.
Entonces el moderador, para calmar los ánimos, comenzó a preguntar quiénes eran nuestros héroes.
So the moderator, to kind of try to calm things down a little bit and, bring the conversation around to a more sanguine approach, began to ask us, each of us, who our heroes were.
Y uno decía Washington, Eisenhower, Churchill.
And, one of the people said, well, Washington, Churchill, Eisenhower.
Hasta que me tocó el turno y me preguntaron, ¿quién es su héroe? Y yo digo, yo no tengo ningún héroe, tengo una heroína.
And then it was my turn and they asked me, well, who are your heroes? And he said, well, I don't have any heroes. I do have a heroine.
Y me dice, ¿y quién es esa heroína? Mi abuela.
And so he said, well, who's that? It's my grandmother.
Y mi abuela era una india guaraní.
My grandmother was a Guarani Indian.
Que tuvo que cultivar la tierra, criar muchos hijos y encima aguantarme a mí, que no era poca cosa.
And she had to, till the land. She had to do everything to put food on the table, and she had to put up with me, and that was not a small task.
Y le decía, hay muchas heroínas que nadie presta atención, pero son las que construyen nuestras sociedades y que tienen grandes aportes a la humanidad.
And I said at that time that, there are lots of heroines, lots of people who are very invisible, but these are the heroines who are about the process of building our societies every day. And they make a huge contribution to our lives and to our societies, even though they seem to be invisible.
Entonces me preguntaban, ¿y su abuela era una profesional? No, mi abuela era una india, era iletrada, pero era sabia.
So they asked me, well, your grandmother, was she a professor, for instance? And I said, no. She was just an old Indian woman. She was not learned, never been to school, but she was very wise.
Ustedes saben que la sabiduría no está en aquellos que leen más libros. Pueden leer muchos libros y no ser sabios.
You all know, I'm sure, that wisdom is not something that comes from reading a lot of books. There are a lot of people who read a lot of books, and they are not very wise.
¿O no? ¿Están de acuerdo o no?
What do you think? Am I right or not so?
Mi abuela me enseñó a escuchar el viento, a reconocer las plantas y hablar con los animales.
But my grandmother, for instance, taught me to listen to the wind and to listen to the plants. And she taught me to speak with the animals.
Y cuando crecí, yo le preguntaba a mi abuela, abuela, ¿qué vas a hacer cuando seas grande?
And as I grew up, I often asked my grandmother, Grandma, what are you going to be when you grow up?
Porque era una comunicación distinta. No, me enseñó a comprender muchas cosas que me sirven hasta el día de hoy.
We had a different kind of communication, and she had a very different way of communicating with the world around us. And she taught me many things that are still, for me today, among the most important things.
En muchos países a los ancianos los mandan a los geriátricos.
In lots of places around the world, old people are kind of shuffled off to geriatric institutions,
Y
old
no
people's homes.
aprovechan la sabiduría de la vida.
And that wisdom of life experience that is present in those peoples is not taken advantage of. It's not used.
Entonces, cuando hablamos de las cosas, de este sentido de la vida, tenemos que ver cómo, por qué.
So when we think about life and the meaning of life and the meaning of everything that's around us, we really always have to be asking ourselves, why are things like they are?
Bueno, si hay alguna pregunta más,
Maybe if there's
la última.
a final question?
Well, no, I'm interested in there have been many, many agreements around the world that have failed, obviously. But recently, very, very recently, the community of Latin American and Caribbean states just made this phenomenal contract of nonviolence, which made practically no attention in the American press. Can he talk to that?
Sé que hay obviamente muchos acuerdos que se han hecho entre países, entre mucha historia que no se ha cumplido, etcétera, etcétera. Pero hay uno que me interesa mucho, que es el acuerdo del CELAC ahora para la no violencia, crear América Latina zona de paz. Ese es un acuerdo que no tuvo casi ninguna repercusión aquí en la prensa en Estados Unidos, pero tal vez puedes comentar algo al respecto.
Sobre el
La CELAC.
La
la
CELAC.
declaración de América Latina como zona de paz.
Claro, los medios de comunicación manejan la información de acuerdo a sus ideologías y sus intereses.
Yeah, we could say that, if we think about the press and the mass communications, they use information and, manage information according to their own ideologies and their own interests.
Yo me alegro mucho que el CELAC, el UNASUR, el Mercosur comiencen un trabajo de integración continental.
I think it's very important, and I'm very pleased to see that organizations of Latin American states like CELAC, the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, or UNASUR, the Union of the Nations of South America, or Mercosur, which is the common market of South American countries. I'm very pleased to see that these organizations, these coming together states, are beginning to work and are beginning to look at the conflicts and the problems in our region and what kinds of responses can be collectively given.
¿Cómo vamos a construir la paz si no nos conocemos? Es imposible.
How can we build peace if we don't know each other?
Tenemos que dialogar, tenemos que compartir y tenemos que celebrar.
We need to have dialogue amongst ourselves, both as people and as nations. We need to have an exchange of information and what's happening, and we need to celebrate together. That's also part of life.
Y tenemos que hacerlo con alegría. Las luchas nuestras tienen que ser con alegría, no quedarnos en la angustia existencial.
And I think we also need to celebrate, and we need to enjoy life. That's what our struggles are all about. They're about enjoying life. So if we don't go about struggling for change and for transformation in a joyful way and with celebrating life, then what for?
Los que luchan por la libertad no pueden ser amargados.
People who struggle for freedom, in a sense, cannot be bitter people.
El amargado está derrotado y los que luchan tienen que tener la alegría de la lucha de que es posible un mundo mejor.
Those who are bitter, in a sense, are people who've given up. They've really stopped struggling for a better life. People who are really struggling for a better life are happy people. They're joyful people, enjoy life, and they seek to ensure that everyone can enjoy life.
Yo creo que la mayor de las derrotas es el conformismo.
I think the worst, in a sense, defeat that we can suffer is really being conformist.
Tenemos que ser rebeldes
We
para
have to
cambiar
be-
las situaciones de injusticia.
We have to be rebellious. We have to rebel against all situations of injustice.
Si no somos rebeldes, no podemos cambiar nada.
Because if we're not rebellious, if we're not prepared to rebel against injustice, then we won't be able to change anything.
Así que sean rebeldes y mucha fuerza y mucha esperanza.
So
Gracias.
be rebellious, great strength, good journey. Thank you.
Vieron la amiga como decía las cosas mejor que yo.
Says, you see how my friend says the things better than I do?
Gracias.
Just like to say that one of my favorite Argentine customs is drinking the cup of mate and passing that around. It's sort of like the Eucharist. There's something sacred about drinking out of the same gourd and the same cup. And I think we've done that tonight, drinking out of this great wise man. So thank you all for coming and for listening.